Free fertilizer? Well, with what's been going on, allegedly, or whatever, I don't know, with Iran, however you say it, it's prudent to consider making your own fertilizer. I just went out and foraged for this purpose. Now, I make this fertilizer every year, and it depends how much I make every year. Typically, I'm recording this on April 3rd of 2026. Typically, FYI, I don't make it this early. So I'm going to share with you what I foraged. I can get it out of the bag. And how I make it. You won't believe how easy this is. Alright, there we go. So I have some grass clippings in here. Limited grass clippings. All I did is this morning, since it's not this morning, but since it's early in the season, grass and all of the things are pretty low to the ground, so I can just use a regular pair of scissors and that works fine. Typically, I make it primarily from stinging nettle, but my nettle right now is about this tall. I have nettle growing out on our septic field. We had to initially plant grass on our septic field, and I tarped part of it after we got approval from the county, and I planted dock and nettle and some other similar things. I just threw the seeds around, and now I've got nettle, and nettle of course is food, it's medicine, it's a natural antihistamine, in other words a natural mast cell stabilizer. There are just all sorts of amazing things about stinging nettle, but you got to wear gloves. That's why I got the gloves on. Another wonderful, wonderful plant that I will link to a post about on is dock. Curly dock, broad dock, whatevs. Dock is dock to me. So dock is one of the first plants, at least around here, to come up in spring. And so there's a lot of dock right now, and I actually harvested most of it, quite frankly. Now I did get some leaves in here. It's okay. What's going to happen is I'm going to put it inside of all of these things inside this bag, and this bag is not basically, what it's sold as is just one of those laundry washing thingies. I don't know what they're called, but it works wonderfully for this purpose. Use what you have. It needs to be some sort of cloth bag. Personally, I find the mesh, I just like the mesh better. If it's just cloth bag, that's fine. So I have lots and lots of dock, and like I said, a little bit of grass. I don't have nearly the nettle that I usually like to have, just because it's so short out there, and it just came up basically. I also have a lot of yarrow, however you say it. This is an amazing plant too. It's got a lot of medicinal value, and so I planted it in the garden years ago. However, what I ended up doing with the yarrow is digging it out, because my husband doesn't actually tolerate yarrow, oddly enough, and the main reason that I have the yarrow is for poultices. It's primarily for him, actually, because he's doing work and things. And then also, I don't really like it that much. Like, I don't really like it on my salads and stuff. So I dug the yarrow out of the garden as much as I could, threw it in a heap, and now it's growing. That's what I did last year. So I've got that in here, and then I also had a bunch of clover. Can't really see it so well. Clover. Lots of clover was growing. I just grabbed it and pulled. However, the way it's growing in the garden area, it didn't pull up any roots. So I tried not to put roots in here. I don't know why. I just feel like it's not the best idea for me personally. Okay, and then I also grabbed a handful of wild alliums. There are tons of wild alliums growing out on our septic field, which is just wonderful. It'll be great when crazy things happen and we need it for food. because that comes up very early. I mean, the grass is this tall and the wild alliums are this tall. So it's very obvious on our septic what's out there, and that it is out there. I think this is the last. Oh, I grabbed a bunch of dandelion too. Well, not a bunch of dandelion. I grabbed some dandelion, which I think must be at the bottom of my pile, of course. Or actually, yeah, here it is. Here's my dandelion. Grabbed some dandelion. Dandelion grows everywhere. I would not recommend grabbing any seeds. You don't want seeds. And then I grabbed some mullein. I pretty much always have mullein growing in the garden. It just comes up on its own. It's starting to rain. So what I do then is I put all of this in this bag. I get a clean brick or clean stone, and I didn't bring it over here, but and I weigh this down, like say right here in a bucket, and then I cover it with rainwater all the way. I mean, pretty much all the way up to the top of the bucket, and then I put a lid on it, and it sits there for 30 days, and it ferments. And then at the end of 30 days, typically I have just amazing liquid fertilizer. Now this year I am going to use some of my fermented liquid leftovers to kickstart it. And this here is from fermented green beans. And it says here, use to kickstart liquid fertilizer. So I don't need to show you all of the steps because you are intelligent enough to understand the words that I just said. And if you need a printout of what I said, then Substack typically allows me to, I can't remember, have captions or whatever so that you can print it out, whatever it's called, have a transcript. It generally, but it's going to be AI generated or whatever, so have fun with that. You don't have to buy fertilizer. This is just one example of fertilizer that you can make yourself for absolutely free. Now, if you have to use city water, tap water, municipal water, then, and it's not filtered, obviously, then even if it is filtered, really, then you're going to want to put the water in the bucket and then leave the bucket open for a couple of days. And then that will allow the chlorine to evaporate. So until next time, hang in there. I will link to my foraging and homesteading books, my favorite ones, Non-Toxic out.